So, and that's the thing. You don't know what you're getting with Diggs. First off, I want to address that earlier comment about how the Texans were just automatically somehow Super Bowl, legitimate Super Bowl contenders. Yeah, I mean, technically speaking, but let's not just skyrocket them acting like that they can easily win a Super Bowl. It is hard to win a Super Bowl. Okay? It is no walk in the park. And I think CJ Stroud is great. And that team is definitely coming. But the way how they just painted that picture was that it was just like easy pickings. Like you don't got to get through the Kansas City Chiefs, the Cincinnati Bengals. The Baltimore Ravens undressed them. Okay? They completely undressed the Houston Texans. And then she's trying to act like it's just like this easy path forward. I mean, it's just, there's levels to this. Levels. But that aside, I do think that the Texans are great. And I think by getting Steffon Diggs, you are improving your team. So because she was saying that there was like no change, I mean, that doesn't even make sense. Of course there's change. Of course there is. Doesn't make any sense. Of course there is. But the real question is, and this is what Stephen A. pointed out, and I really wholeheartedly agree, is that he has caused issues everywhere. Not just Buffalo, but also with Minnesota. This really positive, for those of you who don't know, Minnesota, their whole culture, their head coach, they really strive to create an incredibly positive environment, positive culture. The coaches don't yell like they traditionally have done in the past. It's a very supportive, positive environment. And he couldn't even thrive in that. Okay? Everyone gets along with Kirk Cousins. Everyone loves Kirk Cousins. He's like universally seen as one of the nicest people out there. And he couldn't get along with him. Josh Allen. All players love Josh Allen. Josh Allen has not had a single issue with anyone except for Steffon Diggs. This is about Steffon Diggs' personality. And the problem is that CJ Stroud is a younger player, of course. And their OC is a younger OC, really talented, both really, really talented. And the concern is that Steffon Diggs will try to really put pressure on those two guys and get them away from what works. Because if Steffon Diggs only gets 3 or 4 targets, there's a good chance he's going to be really upset. So to me, the Houston Texans' success relies on how hot of a start they get off to. Because this is exactly what happened with A.J. Brown and the Philadelphia Eagles. A.J. Brown is best friends with Jalen Hurts. Okay, before they were even on the same team, they texted each other apparently every single day. And when they got off to a hot start, when A.J. Brown's first season with the Eagles, everything was going great. A.J.'s catching balls. They loving it. And in the moment A.J. Brown is not getting the targets that he wants, even when they're blowing out teams and winning in the playoffs, getting to the NFC Championship game and getting into the Super Bowl, A.J. Brown is on the sidelines throwing a fit, yelling and getting all upset that he wants the ball. When the Eagles are literally going to the Super Bowl, he is upset. Rather than celebrating, rather than giving a high five to his apparent best friend in Jalen Hurts, cheering on Devontae Smith, the man who he took a lot of balls from, because he's selfish. He wants the ball. And then this season, when the Eagles weren't playing as great as a lot of people thought they should, he was causing more problems on the sideline. And then Jalen Hurts tried to start to force the ball more to him. And an inexperienced OC tried to get the ball to him more. And it ended up being a disastrous. That is the fear that Steffon Diggs can bring to a clearly cohesive team like the Houston Texans. Steffon Diggs, the way how I see it, probably needs a true established veteran who is the king of the castle, the alpha, the undisputed man. Like Tom Brady had with Antonio Brown. And that only even worked for a minute. Because as soon as Antonio Brown won that Super Bowl, he no longer felt that he was in debt to Tom Brady and caused issues with Tom and then left and obviously then was trying to throw Tom Brady's name, in the trash, doing all this crazy stuff. I mean, that is the route that Steffon Diggs is taking at this point. Going up to Josh Allen, pointing to your head, saying use your head, trying to show up your quarterback. I mean, you can just see in that video that we just watched, we can see all the highlights of all the times that he's trying to talk, and you can see all the players around him, not just Josh Allen, but they're all just kind of nodding their head, giving him lip service. Just like, sure, man, whatever you say. He's not well liked. And that's a him problem. And so the fear is that he brings that to the Houston Texans that don't have this truly deeply rooted, established winning culture that can withstand that. CJ Stroud is not an 8-year veteran here. He is a young quarterback, an impressionable quarterback, and a humble quarterback. He is not a big alpha, top dog, I am king, which I really love about CJ Stroud. He's really humble and learning and open to learn. And that's why I think he's going to be really successful. But the problem is that those quarterbacks can sometimes get a little steamrolled in a lot of ways. You're seeing that with Jalen Hurts a little bit. And you know what? Jalen Hurts and CJ Stroud have very similar personalities in that regard. They tend to be a little bit more on the quiet side, more humble, less over the top, bravado. Which is also kind of good because then it lets the A.J. Browns and the Steffon Diggs celebrate and soak up all the energy, which is what they want. They want the attention on them. They want all the riches and the gold and the diamonds. And they put themselves in positions to get it, and they're great and elite players. I'm not hating on Steffon Diggs' play. But the personality is a problem. We've seen this again and again and again with mainly receivers, but also other players. Personalities matter in a locker room. And when a guy has now been bouncing around to multiple teams, believe me, once he gets into this locker room, and if he kind of starts to cause problems again, no one's going to have sympathy for him. No one in the locker room is even going to have his side. They're going to look to CJ Stroud, to DeMarco. I mean, that's who they're going to look at. And Steffon Diggs then finds himself being an outsider once again. Luckily for the Texans, they have enough weapons. They have a great elite up-and-coming quarterback and an elite up-and-coming offensive coordinator. So they can hopefully withstand any of the issues or dramas that Diggs can bring. But it's a genuine question mark. It is a true question mark. The last example I'll give is an old one. Terrell Owens, Donovan McNabb, Andy Reid. A lot of people were nervous what he was bringing to the table because he obviously had his problems. That first season was amazing because everything was going well. And then after that, as soon as there was some adversity, it completely imploded. That's what happens. So if the Texans cannot get off to a hot start, and if Diggs can get his targets and just to get a touchdown, as long as he just gets some passes and scores and gets to do a little dance and celebrate and gets to, give an interview in the post game and in the locker room saying, yeah, anything I can do to help the team out, blah, 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 that'll keep him happy. But if they get off to a kind of a rocky start or he only gets a couple targets and someone else is catching 2 touchdown passes and he's not, oh yeah, that'll eat at him big time. And then you're going to start causing problems. But we shall see. Those are just my thoughts. I would absolutely love to hear yours. Please let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment. So whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I would absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of, and I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much, and see you next time.